The No Nonsense Roundtable. It's a weekly show broadcast on Rochester, New York's 50,000-watt iHeart radio station, News Radio Wham 1180. The host, Dom Geneva, interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. What you are about to hear is a recording of a previous broadcast with limited commercials. Now, here's host, Dom Geneva.
Well, welcome everybody to another edition of your No Nonsense Roundtable. I'm Dom Geneva, your host, every Saturday from 10 to 11 right here. And as I like to remind you, you can get them any time of the day or night on nononsenseroundtable.com. So today, my subject today is something that we're all familiar with, but we should be more familiar with because it's historical, it's fun, it's coming up soon, it is the harbinger of spring, and we were talking the other day about what's going on and what advantages do we have from living here in Rochester, and one of the things is these great festivals we have, and the one that's coming up now is the Lilac Festival. So I have three wonderful individuals here, all with something else to say about the Lilac Festivals. So I have Jenny, pronounce your last name for me, please.
Lomaglio.
Lomaglio. I'll get that right by the end of the show. And I have Dave Drago, and I have an old-time friend of mine, Jerry Boone. So let's everybody introduce themselves about what they do and their title, and we'll go from there. So Jenny, go ahead.
Hi. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jenny, and I'm the executive producer of the Rochester Lilac Festival. And I've been with the event. This will be my 11th year, but really only my first unofficial full year of producing the event with a very strong team. And I have a big background in event planning and previously in television and just Rochester native. Even though I took some time away, came right back and jumped right back in.
Okay, so my silly little question I ask everybody, what did you want to do when you were 10 years old? You didn't say, well, Mom and Dad, I want to manage a Lilac Festival. What was it?
I didn't, but I have a question for you.
What?
And I can tell you when I was 10 years old, I was sitting in my room with my purple ghetto blaster. It was sometime in the 80s, and I was playing these. So for those of you who can't see, my phone case is a retro cassette.
Yeah. But that just proves you're young enough to be my granddaughter. I think
Sorry.
That's okay. So
I would play the cassette tapes on my purple ghetto.
No,
blaster.
but what did you want to do? I mean,
well, I feel back then I had such a love of music, but I didn't know where I wanted to channel it. I was certainly not a singer or an actress, and I was painfully shy. And just knew that music was a part of my life. And even though the festival, as we get into this podcast, will prove to be so many other things than just music, it was definitely a passion of mine to get into the world of entertainment and make music and entertainment and events part of my life.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because that's a discussion that Jeff Tysick and I got into when I interviewed him. Is do you point yourself into a destination or a direction? So you pointed yourself into a direction, not necessarily a destination. He says his daughter wanted to sing Carmen at the Met. He says that was pretty specific, but she's doing other things in the entertainment business. So that's very common and admirable. So Dave, tell me a little about yourself and what did you want to do when you were 10 years old?
So I'm Dave Drago. I direct the KeyBank Center stage at the Lilac Festival. I do the talent buying and keep the stage running on time, organize day of and all that good stuff. This is my second year with the festival. Jenny and I had a fateful coffee date one morning. I guess it would be last year. And I came in there thinking I didn't want to have anything to do with the Lilac Festival, and I left with a lot to do with the Lilac Festival and a very good friend too. So when I was young, I think similarly to Jenny, I don't think I had like a career objective, like a this is the destination like you talk about. I think I was also really like musically like attached at that age. I started playing instruments when I was 12. So I'm thinking back to when I was 10. I think I probably wanted to have something to do with the music. I know I wanted to travel when I was a kid. My dad was like a traveling dad. Yeah. He went all over the world, and I just knew I wanted to like go around the world. And I think when I was 10, that was about the time that Sister Act came out. And I was a pretty slow kid, so I actually wanted to be a singing nun for a while. And you know, okay. I didn't talk about it much, so
you're gonna regret saying.
Yeah, but I loved to sing, and I would still be a singing choral nun if I could. But I don't think that job exists for people like me. So,
okay, there you go. That takes the cake.
There we go.
We were talking before.
I very literally actually thought that could be my life. Yeah.
It beats my cassette story all day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that beats all. We were talking before the show that I had two guests who said they want to be cowgirls, and you just took the cake with that one. I mean,
I wanted to be Whoopi Goldberg and Sister Act.
That's very interesting. Now, Jerry Boone, you when you were growing up wanted to be a guest on the No Nonsense Roundtable. I know that. That's right. That was it. No, what did you want? Well, you've been involved in music all your life, so it's gotta be. I think you picked up a saxophone when you were like 3 or something, right?
Right. Actually, it was clarinet that I started out on, and then I decided when soul music came in, and Junior Walker and the All-Stars, Dave, of course, shotgun and all that, I switched over to saxophone, which was a way to get in a band. Otherwise, you weren't going to get in a rock and roll band like when the Beatles were out playing clarinet. So I think I just sort of gravitated to that. I was sort of timid, and getting in a band was a very cool thing. My brother was in a band. I got into his band, and it just took off. And before you know it, I was a senior in high school, and we started Skycoasters, seniors. So, I could go on, but we did cover that. And then I always knew that I was going to get a job like with a Kodak or a Xerox or something like that, and be able to blend the two, which can be difficult. But I'm very proud that I was able to do that. And Kodak and, playing for Xerox and Kodak and their presidents clubs and all these things got us to the Olympics and got us all over the place,
Okay. So I'm going to brag about you a little bit, okay? So I should have introduced you as the founder of the Skycoasters, a wonderful name, by the way, because it really does evoke a fantastic feeling about what you do. But also, you played for the Steinbrenners. You were at the inaugural. You played at the new Yankee Stadium, right? And then you played for the Steinbrenners in Florida. Yep. You're big diggins.
Yeah.
You really are. And 57 years, right?
Yeah. No, wait. Is this 58, I think? I don't know. I have to do that.
You're going to correct me on something. That's where you're going to correct me on.
Yeah,
okay, I'll grant you 58, okay? Jeez, you hardly look that old. But anyway, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit. Now, Jenny, what I want to find out about, we're about ready to head into a break. And what I want to find about is, how did we get here? I don't mean to, Honey Falls. I mean, how did this whole thing with the Lilac Festival start? Was it two guys and a guitar back in 1875, and they were drinking and they decided to plant some lilacs? But how did we get to have such a wonderful celebration of spring? And how's it progressed, and what does it mean to the community economically too? So, and with that, we are heading to our first break, and I hate saying we'll see you, because we won't see you. You will hear us when we come back. This is Dom Geneva for my friends at Metro Mattress. Sometimes things actually get better. Your cell phone, TV, and car is better than 30 years ago. More choices too. So when Nita and I needed a new mattress, we wanted to shop local, but we also wanted the advantages of having lots of choices with new features, so we went to Metro Mattress. Based in Syracuse, they have 7 stores locally. Many of their mattresses are made in the United States, and many have 10-year warranties. Go to Metro Mattress like Nita and I did. You'll be happy. This is Dom for my friend John Myers and his new company, Life Interviews. I'm going to ask you to go look at the website he has, Life Interviews. There's no T in it, Interviews, where you'll see a fantastic presentation on what they do. And what they do is create a video legacy for you to pass down to future generations. More than just getting your DNA, you can pass down your story. Go see, you'll be amazed. It's a great idea, but do me a favor. Wait till the end of the No Nonsense Roundtable. Well, welcome back. You're listening to the No Nonsense Roundtable, and today our topic is the Lilac Festival. You know, the funny thing is, not funny, but I lived down south for a while, and the weather was always nice. I mean, it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. It snowed maybe once a year or whatever. And since it was always nice, you really didn't celebrate summer. You know, I mean, the thing is that, I mean, it's so horrible here for about 6 or 8 weeks that when something comes by like the Lilac Festival, it's like, there's something to do and something that's pleasurable. You get outside and it's really a great feeling. It's a harbinger of spring. But Jenny, tell me, how did we get here? I mean, how did it start? And give me the progression, how it got as big as it's gotten, because it's a big deal.
Yeah, sure. As you mentioned, due to our weather and our climate, it is the coming out of the first of the season for everybody. Even if we don't have such complimentary weather during our event time, people are still appreciative of the 127 years that they've, been experiencing over generations. So I think, and a full disclaimer, I'm not a lilac expert, but I do know enough about the history. And I think just having that knowledge is helpful to honor the lilacs in addition to what the festival's become. And from what I know, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the park, as you know, was designed by Frederick Olmsted. And there was a planting in Highland Park and a design of Highland Park. And somewhere in that time, I want to say the late, like 1898, somewhere around then, the plants had started to really grow in, and there was the first Lilac Sunday. And that first Lilac Sunday happened, I believe, on a Mother's Day, or if Mother's Day wasn't invented yet, it probably became Mother's Day that time. I don't know. But 3,000 people gathered in the park that day to celebrate what was Lilac Sunday. And just a few short years later, in I think 1905 or somewhere in those early years, it had grown to 25,000 people. Wow. And more importantly, more like a 10-day full event because of the planting of the flowers. They're all timed perfectly. So, Olmsted has designed, Central Park and Pebble Beach. And even if you've watched the Masters a couple of weeks ago, there's flowers and plants that they plan strategically for when the golf tournament is to bloom at that time down south. So, it had grown from 3,000 on one day to tens of thousands, and more of an event. And then moving away from, Lilac Sunday and a few thousand people, it became a real festival in the late 70s. So around 1978, it became the Lilac Festival, and they had a Lilac Queen, and it involved a parade and music, and just the beginnings of what we see in 2025.
Well, people have to understand the history of that is that, there weren't cars back then. Henry Ford's first car was like 1903, so it had to have evolved into, over time, more. Well, I guess if I was to make an analogy of this, I would say, they used to have the Easter parade where everybody got out of their house, they got dressed in their finest, and they walked up and down the road, but there was no corn dogs. There's no corn dogs and beer and all this other stuff. So how did it progress over time? Was there one particular point in time where it became like exploded the way it is now?
The event, truthfully speaking, I was born the year after that became a real event. So, the event is fairly new. If you do the math, we're only in the 40 something. I'm 46. So
wow.
It's, having a more...
That's surprising. I wish people could see this.
Having a more organized structure is fairly new. If you look at it, 1978 began music, began food vendors. I wasn't around, and I don't think much of it was documented as to when it became what it is today. But having the separation of the event where we utilize the north end of the park, Reservoir, Highland Avenue between Reservoir and Highland, remains untouched. It's the beauty of the flowers and the magnolias and the azalea bushes and all the different varieties, and just stunning. We don't really go in there as a festival because we want to honor the fauna and the flora. And we utilize Reservoir Avenue as sort of a landing zone. There's the pansy beds, there's the tulip beds, and we use Reservoir Avenue up top as our art show. And we really keep it as organic as we can. And by the word organic, our artists are juried in, and they have to be the makers of their work 100%. So we sort of have that vibe up top. And as you make your way over the purple crosswalk on Highland Avenue into the festival grounds, that's where you see the normal comings and goings of festival life. So between the late 70s and what it is now, I know the two previous promoters prior to me. I don't know them, everybody personally, but it did grow into internal events within, such as the 5K, 10K. This year it will be 46 years old also. So I know that if we're doing the math right, it was probably 1 year after the event really became what it was that the 5K, 10K was started. And as we add things and we take away from the festival according to what our attendees respond to, we have some health and wellness things, and we have specific types of areas where they can go and relax or have a certain type of food. Those things kind of come and go with each promoter. So I would say in the 40 plus years that it's been running, it's evolved sort of naturally on its own.
Well, and I'm going to talk to Dave here in a minute about the entertainment section of this. But to your point, you have vendors there that have different things to sell, wares and I don't want to say trinkets, but souvenirs and stuff like that. I've bought a number of things myself there, pottery and of course the food is been evolving over time to more than just hot dogs and hamburgers. But I didn't realize that the thing really has a foundation from 100 years ago, but really had a change in, you say 1978, right? So let me ask you a question about the vendors that you have there. Let's talk about some of the unusual things that you've acquired over time. I mean, there's some things like culinary things that weren't around back in like in 1978. So let's talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I should note that the event itself is free, and it's always been free. And so people are like, well, there's no gate price at the door. How does this even work? And, we rely on our concessions from our vendors and our sponsorships, and we're able in return to offer, the visibility to so many hundreds of thousands of people. We talk about 500,000 people attending the event. They're from around the country. They're from around the world. We have so many people that would come up to some of our vendors who have been with us a long time, and they say, one vendor that comes to mind is Charlie Morgan with Highland Lilac. He's been selling the same lilac products for 30 years. And they say, I've been here every year just to see you. And, a lot of these vendors are small business owners, and they are supporting us, and in turn we support them. In order for people to, succeed as a vendor, they're seeing a year's worth of clientele in just 10 days. And
before we head into our news break, let's tell everybody the dates, which we haven't mentioned yet. Go ahead.
Oh, well, if you can't tell by looking at me and I'm in my calm manic mode, we are just a few short days away. We open up May 9th and we go through the 18th. And
what are the hours?
Every day, 10:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And
here's the thing. What's your favorite food there? Now,
there's so many.
I'm putting you on the spot. There you go.
There's so many to pick from, and as you were starting to allude to at the beginning of this conversation, we're up to 40 plus food vendors. So every time I go back and try something new, I'll always go back and grab my favorite sausage and peppers.
Talk like a true promoter. You don't want to say one in particular. I can understand that. You should run for office.
I probably fail.
No, you won't. Well, everybody, we will be back right after this news break. Bye. This is Dom Geneva from my friend Jack Greco at Jack Greco Furniture. I'd invite you to go see Jack Greco if you're looking to buy furniture right now. But beyond that, I'd invite you to go see Jack Greco if you're ever going to buy new furniture. And why? You can look and dream and plan how exactly you'd like your furniture. The type of wood, construction is half the fun. It's going to be reflective of your taste, and quite frankly, you'll want to pass it down as an heirloom. Can't say that about the big box stores. Go see Jack. Well, welcome back. You're listening to the No Nonsense Roundtable every Saturday right here. And the prior shows, like I like to say, are on nononsenseroundtable.com and our YouTube channel. Go there, look at something I have there, and like and subscribe. That helps everybody. Well, it helps me. So we are talking to a number of people here from the Lilac Festival, and Jenny just gave us a rundown on the different things that they have there, in addition to music. But we're here talking to Dave, who is you would say you are like if we were talking about logistics, you are in charge of musical logistics, I would say. I mean, you're not playing yourself; you're just arranging all these performers together and whatever, and the production and the performances themselves. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, that's right. I just call it a music director, which kind of has a lot of connotations in different areas of the music industry, but I think it makes sense for the stage. But yeah, music direction, and then talent buying, which is kind of a separate entity. That's selecting, working with national agents to book all of our national artists, and then working with our local wonderful artisanal artists here in Rochester, and booking our local talent as well.
Well, it's a really important job. I'm not saying that just to blow smoke at you, but the logistics that are involved in that are incredible. You have different acts, and they have different schedules. Even something just having the sound system work is extraordinarily difficult. I've learned from talking to a lot of people on this show. And how many acts, is that right to call them acts or performers? Yeah. How many acts do you have?
51.
Oh, 51. Mm-hmm. And it's your responsibility to keep this all straight?
Absolutely. I mean, I've got great staff, and I don't really get involved in anything that I'm not setting myself up for success with. So we have a ton of great strategic partnerships. Our audio production company is Audio Images. I've been working with them for years, adore the people over there, and they have been incredible at making sure that we're efficient, sounding great. And then we have an incredible staff that works backstage on day of show, so that I don't have to sort of be getting like bogged down in the weeds of like transitions and stuff. And I can sort of run around and help in whatever way I can. And it's a massive team effort. And I'm fortunate I've been in this business long enough that I sort of have like acquired these wonderful people. I have pretty high standards with who I surround myself with and who I work with. And it's been really nice to like put them to work on a festival. Maybe some of these people on a level that they haven't been like working on before, but I just know their character and I know how well they work. And, last year being the first year, I was very impressed with how things went last year. I thought the team was amazing. And, we weren't a minute late at all last year. So, yeah.
Well, how many people do you have working for you?
Backstage, there's probably about 10 folks. And then that's just the backstage crew. There's also a massive crew that answers to Jenny, and incredibly talented people all over. I mean, it is a massive team.
No, I have a lot of respect for it. There was a performance years ago, and a fella asked me, "Well, how'd you like the show?" I said, "Well, the first act, the microphones didn't work." Mm-hmm. Yeah, but how did you like the show? The microphones didn't work. Well,
not at all.
There's no amount of sugar that makes up for poison. Everything's got to work, and the microphones have to work, and the logistics have to work, and you have to hear people. And let's change the subject just a little bit. So tell me, so the musical performances, what time of the day are they on? Consistently, or a certain time of day or night?
Yeah, consistently. So we start music at 12 noon every day. On the weekends, the Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, which we have 6 of the 10 days, we're starting out with bands. It's bands all day. 60-minute sets for every artist. Headliner gets 90 minutes, which is abnormal. But again, I want we're bringing in local artists, original music makers that this is what they do. It isn't these little, chintzy 20-minute spots and, change over. It's like, no, we do a full hour to really, really showcase a band, really, really allow us the opportunity to present that band to our community and the many people from all over the country and all over the world who come to the Lilac Festival. So, and then on the weekdays, we start at noon, but we do 3, what we call our educational acts. So we work with, this year, I believe it's 15 different high schools and middle schools. And we do everything from an entire high school orchestra to a massive middle school choir to a dance troupe to local jazz bands and rock bands, all in middle school and high school. And we really, really like to give that stage time to up and comers. I remember, I told Jenny this when we first met, I went to Fairport. I was in the choirs, and I remember my jazz choir singing there every year. Yeah. And this would have been, 25 years ago, 24 years ago. And it felt important. It felt really special. And those situations might seem small to some people, but actually they like radar a career path for some kids. It's really, really cool.
I have this expression. Joy is a very rare thing, and if you have a kid that gets up on stage, whatever age they are, and they have that moment or two, they'll remember that for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
You're not playing in front of your friends and families in an auditorium. You're out there. You're out there with the real people.
Yeah, and we give them this insane rock star experience too, because the staff is the same at noon on a Monday as it is at 6 p.m. on a Saturday. So they have stage hands making sure they're comfortable. They have a stage manager. They have a full audio team with a monitor tech and a front of house engineer and a lighting designer. And it's it's such a cool thing to be able to give to kids. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can just imagine. Now let's talk about some of the different genres of music you have.
Yeah, we go all over the place. So I'm not a very genre specific individual. I know Jenny is that way too. We listen to a lot of different kinds of music. What's important to us, I kind of have 2 things that I think about is this person doing something that's special, unique, and authentic to them? And number 2, will it make the audience dance? Because if you're walking by the stage and you might think to yourself, well, I don't really listen to hip hop, or I don't listen to jazz, or I don't listen to rock and roll. I only listen to this genre. If there's a beat that's infectious, and if there's a melody a good hook and it works, you're going to stop and you're going to watch. And our motto is, we are trying to present to people their next favorite band.
I'm laughing because I've gotten to know and be friends with Felix Cavalieri, who one of the founders of the Rascals, and he tells the story of they're playing a club in New Jersey, and he says the club owner comes up to him. He says, "Son, let me tell you what a good band is." He goes, I'll listen to anything." He says, "You see those fast songs that you're playing?" Because he says, "You see how those people are dancing?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "You see how they come back after that? They're all sweaty and they all want to drink." He goes, "Yeah, that's the sign of a good band."
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, what a great story! But that I didn't know that you did that with the kids. That's admirable. That's admirable and cool, and must be fun. And one of your favorite acts has to be the Sky Rollers, the Sky Coaster, the drink coaster.
That's right.
Sky people, something like that.
As a festival direction for our music, we work with mainly original regional artists and original touring artists, except for the Skycoasters.
Skycoasters.
Because they are an absolute institution in Rochester.
Oh, absolutely. So. Coming up after the break, the Skycoasters. Well, at least one of them. This is Dom. I'd like you to listen to a jingle that the No Nonsense Roundtable produced for the Rotary Sunshine Camp.
It's a magical place for kids of all abilities.
At no charge, the Rochester Rotary Sunshine Camp has been serving children of all abilities for the last 100 years. Help us grow into the next 100 years. Go to sunshinecamp.org to learn more about how you can help.
where kids have no barriers to fun.
The Rochester Rotary Sunshine Camp.
Well, welcome back. You're listening to No Nonsense Roundtable, our Lilac Festival edition. And one of the performers with his group at the Lilac Festival is Jerry Boone, the founder of the Skycoasters, been here for 58 years. A Rochester tradition, I would say. Everybody knows the Skycoasters. And you are going to be performing when and with whom?
We'll play on Wednesday night, which is May 14th, at the Lilac Festival. And we're just really pleased that they wanted us to come back and play. I mean, it's really an honor to play there and to be a headliner. And before us, and Dave, feel free to jump in and talk about, there's a couple other bands that are going to be before us. Steve Grills and the Roadmasters and Shine. Now, you'll have to tell me about Shine because we play a lot, so I don't go out to see a lot of other bands. And tell me about what they
Shine
play.
is like one of the most electric, like wedding bands. They do a lot of weddings as special events, and they are just some of Rochester's like most monster players. And the energy they bring to it is absolutely phenomenal. So,
And when will they be on?
right before the Skycoasters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, did I get this wrong? You're playing for an hour and a half?
Yes, we're the headliner. We get an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, which works out great. And I wanted to give...
For as old as you guys are, that's pretty good.
yeah, no breaks. Yeah, we can do it. I don't know why, but we can do it.
Well, it depends.
But audio images, as you mentioned...
Jenny caught that.
Oh, yeah. No.
We'll get you some water, Jerry.
Yeah, I've heard
Maybe a
that
towel.
before. Right.
Dab your
That's
forehead.
not what he's talking about.
I'm horrible. Go ahead. You can tell Jerry and I are good friends.
But Audio Images, which is this great company, just a little background on them. We have been using them for years and actually got to use them down in Florida. And so now they have an office in Florida. And we are contracted for playing at the Ocean Reef Club in December, which is in Key Largo, which is like really amazing place. And Audio Images will be our sound company down there too. So they're all over.
I also just used Audio Images for an event I did in Florida as well. And they're the fact that they have stretched up and down the East Coast, and just circling back to like how Rochesterians are very family orientated. We take care of one another. We have these relationships like the both of you for years and years.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you can have that tie-in.
Yeah.
And I know that our board loves that production company and specifically requested them.
Yeah, they're awesome. So like you say, it's so important to put on these shows and make it happen. And they know how to do it. So but anyway, yeah, the band's excited. We're going to be playing, an hour and a half party music to get people going. We'll probably bring out our surfboard, as I was mentioning earlier, and get people up on the board and have some fun.
Well, I mean, to give you some I guess they call it in the business some props. I mean, when Gene Cornish comes into town, the Brascos come into town, and these guys are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Who plays the horns?
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean that's a pretty good endorsement.
Yeah, in fact, I can announce this too. We're real excited because we played with them a few times. So it'd be tenor sax and our trumpet and our trombone. And when they come in, they'll just give you the music and you play. So we're playing in Schenectady August 22nd with the Rascals, and they'll also be there with Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Ooh.
So I'll get to meet Frankie Valli backstage too.
Yeah.
So, it's exciting, but that's all because of the friendship we've got with Gene Cornish, and we came through for them, when we play with them, and it's wonderful.
So, Jenny, what I call this section of the show is the retail section. So I'm going to turn it over to you because, you have all the skinny on this stuff. And, where do you get your tickets? Oh, there are no tickets, right?
No, there's no tickets. It's a free event, and it always has been. And to be able to see hours and hours of music daily for free is very, very special. We're supported really by our concessions, which are our local food vendors, and our regular vendors who we consider commercial vendors. And so by coming to the festival and supporting them by, maybe you're getting a new gutter, or maybe you are, purchasing something from or a service from them, or treating your family to lunch, you're supporting local for the most part. I would say 90-something% supporting the local. So it's just definitely like a good wheel that keeps turning.
Okay, so let's get into my favorite topic here, food. Tell everybody what type of food you can get there.
Pretty much you're walking into a smorgasbord of
Guys, you can chime in too if you have your favorite.
Oh yeah, I mean Dave just mentioned his tour de nachos last year. One year we had a lot of chicken finger bonanza, and it's great. You can get your festival food, but you really have a lot of unusual and fun. You have always your festival food like fried Oreos. I don't know, but we have so many options, and I would also like to highlight the fact that we have some gluten-free options. Almost every vendor has an option, vegetarian. We have some vegan items, so you can really feel included when you go. And it's not just 5 or 6, hot dog stations or something like that. Everybody loves our Zweigels and your traditional. I just mentioned sausage and peppers a few minutes ago, but you can pretty much go and get any type of cuisine, whether it's Latin fare or soul food, or even just straight up junk food. It's all there.
Beer?
Yes, of course. Of course. Wouldn't be a festival without beer.
When you're talking about that may be very nice, but it's not of course. That's good. Yeah, we have a lot of local beer companies that I know that are doing these IPAs and stuff like that. I can't remember what IPA or how many it was a few when I was there last year. It was a wonderful experience, and hopefully the weather, it turns out for you. You never know. With Rochester, you might have a blizzard, but it looks like it might be a good week for you.
That's right.
Coming up.
But we also have this VIP program that's going on there. It's $35 for VIP for a whole day. So this is a free music festival. You don't have to pay anything to go to. And you ask yourself when you come in, would I pay $35 for that concert? And if the answer is yes, you should get yourself a VIP ticket, because we have this massive 56 by 32 platform that is like up and above. The best view of the stage is from up there. Definitely. There's a bar. There's a special bathroom for that area, and it's only $35, and it's covered. So if it's sprinkling a little bit, it's like get yourself onto that VIP, have a good time, and it's a really cool scene up there. And Jenny pulled out all the stops on the VIP.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think a lot of our listeners that would compel them to come out. Yeah. Dan Mason of the Red Wings, is always very sensitive about that. If there's going to be showers or whatever, people coming out. But if you don't have to be afraid of getting wet, and it costs $35 is, in the great scheme of things, it's not. It's not
people
that,
are paying $100 for a VIP on a concert ticket they already spent $80 on. So it's like, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. So with that, we are about ready to go. Now, do you have a website? You should have a website.
We have rocklilacfest.com or Rochester Lilac Festival if you want to get fancy about it. You can go there, and as Dave mentioned, you can check out if you are interested in buying tickets for the Vision Financial VIP Sky Deck. You have all sorts of fun things there, but it will offer the lineup, food choices, and all things other events within. So we talked about the Lilac 5K, 10K. We have a parade on opening Saturday.
Oh yeah, where's the parade from where to where?
The parade begins sort of in the South Avenue area and makes its way down Highland, and garners over 50,000 attendees, and they all come into the park. So you can watch it on Channel 8, which we'd rather see you in person. Yeah. And we just have a lot of things going on within the festival. And I know we talked a little bit about VIP, but also want to stress the fact that we have added things to the festival to make it inclusive for everybody. And so we have a guided walking tour, which is one is floral and one is more historical. And so we have other things that you can go and do for free as well. So
wonderful. Well, thanks guys for coming in. It's great to meet you. I always say that if I learn something on the show, my listeners learn something too. And I think they have a lot to think about. So thank you very much. I'll see you. I'll definitely definitely see you there, Jerry, and maybe I can get backstage tour from you.
There you go.
And thank you for what you do. This sounds delightful. Rochester is a great place to live. And it's a great place to listen to the radio, which you can do on next Saturday, 10 o'clock, the No Nonsense Roundtable.
Thanks for listening. Tune in every Saturday from 10 to 11 on News Radio Wham 1180. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.